time for your health check. Some people are experiencing a failure to launch into their normal routines, and that includes going back to work. We know a lot of you have concerns and questions and really anxiety. So bringing in an expert now, Dr. Lisa Orbe-Austin. She's a psychologist and an executive coach, and she's going to be joining us every single week here on Current. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good, Natalie. How are you?
So good to have you back. So, doctor, why do you think people really feeling anxiety about returning to in-person workplaces because they've been isolated for so long? Where is that return to work stress really coming from?
I think people are concerned about their routines, the changes in those routines, the need for an adjustment to their childcare or other dependent care. I think they're also concerned about now having to deal with their coworkers on an in-person basis, which is different than how they've been dealing for the last year and a half. I mean, I think also predictability is also a concern, this idea that we don't know if the office will be closed or not because of a COVID case, or if our children's school will be closed. It can really change the predictability of your work life.
It's funny because in the beginning, it was very unpredictable because you had to work from home. And now working from home has become predictable. What are some tips for overcoming that anxiety that relates to returning to your workplace?
I think one of the things that's really important is to begin to plan for the adjustment. A lot of people are returning back to some normalcy or some schedule in September. So don't wait till the first week that you're starting back to do that. Start back now and start to begin to the changes that are going to be necessary for your routine and schedule. I think it's also going to be important to communicate any of your concerns ahead of time to your boss about things that you might need, adjustments you might need to your schedule, accommodations you might need, and do that early. And then create a self-care structure, a plan to really make sure that your self-care is embedded in your routine and how you'll adjust it when you go back to work.
And when you do go back to work, obviously, you're going to be around your coworkers, your bosses, everyone that works there. How do you deal with some mistrust or maybe safety concerns, setting boundaries with coworkers that you definitely didn't have to do before the pandemic?
I think it's going to be important to pre-plan some of those difficult conversations, like be able to say what you want to say ahead of time and practice it, because it can be hard to be caught off guard and you can struggle with extemporaneous speech. I think it's also going to be important to communicate what your boundaries are and what's important to you around safety. And then when those boundaries are violated, directly addressing it or addressing it in the context of your manager or HR. I also think it's going to be important to have a decompression routine, something that you're doing after work to get used to and take care of yourself after this new schedule.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Lisa Orbe-Austin. We're going to see you right back here again next week.
Yes. See you next week.